a different subject, so. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, Glenn, thank you. So this evening, good evening everyone, this evening we'll be discussing the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada's books, and we'll be discussing text 9 of the Nectar of Instruction, which is only 11, so 9, 10, 11. We're getting close to the end of this book. And before, when I gave classes before on this book, I was telling devotees how I have had the book for a very long time. You know, it was like falling apart and everything. So I managed to I went to a company and they made a hardcover. So I fixed the problem. Nobody was giving me donations or nobody was buying me another book, so I figured it out. With Glenn's help, we went together. So yes, we're on text 9, Nectar of Instruction. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm just trying to figure out the meter. Any ideas? Vaikunta janito varamadupadi tatrapi raso savan vrindaran mudara pani ramanat tatrapi govardhana Radha Kundam Ihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat Kuryad Asya Virajato Giritate Sevam Viveki Naka. Okay. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Vaikuntat. Then Vaikunta, the spiritual world. Janitaha, because of birth. Vara, better. Madhupuri, the transcendental city known as Mathura. Tatra api, superior to that. Rasa utsavat, because of the performance of the Rasa Lila. Vrindavan, the forest of Vrindavan. Udarapani, of Lord Krishna. Ramanat, because of various kinds of loving pastimes. Tatra api, superior to that. Govardhanaha, Govardhan Hill. Radha Kundam, the place known as Radha Kund. Iha api, superior to this. Gokulapatehe, of Krishna, the master of Gokul. Prem Amrita, with the divine nectar of with the nectar of divine love. Plavanat, because of being overflooded. Kuryat, would do. Asya, of this. Radha Kund. Virajataha, situated. Giritate, at the foot of Govardhan Hill. Sevam, service. Viveki, who is intelligent. Na, not. Kaha, who. Okay, translation. By His Divine Grace, translation purport is by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The holy place, known as Mathura, is spiritually superior to Vaikunta, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasa Lila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And, above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prem of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where, then, is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? Purport. Okay. The spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is the most exalted region. The spiritual world is naturally superior to the material world. However, Mathura and the adjoining areas, although appearing in the material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself appeared at Mathura. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because of the presence of the 12 forests, Dvadashavan, such as Talavan, Madhuvan, and Bahulavan, which are famous for the various pastimes of the Lord. Thus, the interior Vrindavan forest considered superior to Mathura. But superior to these forests is the divine Govardhan Hill, because Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill like an umbrella, raising it with his lotus-like beautiful hand to protect his associates, the denizens of Raj, from the torrential rain sent by the angry Indra, king of the demigods. It is also at Govardhan Hill that Krishna tends the cows with his cowherd friends, And there also he had his rendezvous with his most beloved Sri Radha, and engaged in loving pastimes with her. Radha Kund, at the foot of Govardhan, is superior to all because it is there that love of Krishna overflows. Advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radha Kund because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani, Rati Vilas. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it is stated that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited the area of Vrajbhumi, he could not at first find the location of Radha Kund. This means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually searching for the exact location of Radha Kund. Finally, he found the holy spot, and there was a small pond there. He took his bath in that small pond and told his devotees that the actual Radha Kund was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed first by the 6 Goswamis, such as Rupa and Raghunath Das. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radha Kund there. Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radha Kund because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who, then, would give up Radha Kund and try to reside elsewhere? No person with transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radha Kund, however, cannot be realized by other Vaishnava sampradayas, nor can persons uninterested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand the spiritual importance and divine nature of Radha Kund. Thus, Radha Kund is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Om Ganatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmaditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Katitavachalam Bhangam Langayate Girim Ya Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dintaranam Vancha Kapadribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'll just read the translation again. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prem of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve the divine Radha Kund, this divine Radha Kund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? All right. So here, this verse by Rupa Goswami is saying that the holy place of Mathura, where Krishna appeared, is superior to the spiritual world. So it's a amazing concept, because you think of the spiritual world and you think that's the topmost. But here Rupa Goswami is saying, actually Mathura in India, you could go there. Northern India, it's superior because Krishna appeared there. And superior to Mathura is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan. So okay, you got a place where Krishna appeared, right? So you got this. It's superior to the spiritual world, and then superior to Mathura, where Krishna appeared, is Vrindavan, is the forest of Vrindavan. Vrinda is like Tulsi, and Van is forest, so it's like forest of Tulsis. Superior to Mathura is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. So this Vrindavan, where Krishna performs his Rasa Leela pastimes, it's superior to the spiritual world, and it's superior to Mathura because of the pastimes that he performed there. And yeah, Rasa Leela it would actually happen this month of Kartik. So it's a time where all the gopis and Krishna, they danced. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all of his pure devotees, these gopis, who happened to be young girls, they had a desire to dance with Krishna. So Krishna was out there in the forest, and then he played his flute, and all the gopis, came out of their house, attracted to the flute, and they came and they met Krishna, and they danced there. And the dance actually lasted it's like a very long time, like a night of Lord Brahma, which is like millions of years. But the devotees, Krishna and all the gopis, they thought it just to go by really quick, fast. Now, of course, people, they claim to be Bhagavan, they claim to be God. Some people do. Of course, it's not so common in America. It's becoming more and more common with the advent of the New Age movement. New Agers, they say, oh, you're me, I'm you, and we're all God type of thing. All their conceptions are quite a lot of them, don't make much sense. They want to become, no one, or, it's difficult to understand exactly where they're coming from. But especially within India, there's so many people that claim to be Bhagavan, they claim to be Krishna, like out and out. They say, I'm God. And their followers worship him like that. And so Prabhupada would bring this up, that, okay, you're claiming you're God, which they use this claim to, for their own sense gratification, that, okay, I'm God, so that means I could have Rasa Leela. That means just as Krishna danced with all these young girls, I could also dance, right? I could have, Rasa Leela. So in other words, they tried to use it for their own sense gratification. But Prabhupada would say, okay, you say you're Krishna and you want to have Rasa Leela, because such rascals, or such, Prabhupada would say rascals, or fools, such fools would say, okay, you should send your wives and send your daughters, and then now we'll have Rasa Leela, right? Because I'm God. And, people would do it. So Prabhupada would say, okay, you claim to be Krishna, you claim to be God, and therefore you're saying, okay, Rasa Leela, but the question is, as this verse is pointing out, later in the verse it says, Krishna not only performed Rasa Leela, but he also held up Govardhan Hill. So the question is, can you lift Govardhan Hill? And of course the answer is no. But anyways, the Rasa Leela pastime places are superior to Mathura. And then it says, superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill. So it's like this progression, right? So you got the spiritual world, you got Mathura, you got the forest of Vrindavan where the Rasa Leela happened, and you got Govardhan Hill, so it's going higher. Govardhan Hills. For it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflowed with ambrosial nectarian prem of the Lord of Gokul. So, and you have Radhakund, which is the most holy place, which is situated by Govardhan Hill, or near Govardhan Hill, at the foot of it. And it says, where is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So Govardhan Hill, which everybody could go to, it's there. You buy a ticket to Delhi, and then you drive in a taxi to Vrindavan, and you take a rickshaw and you'll make it to Govardhan Hill. And you could devotees walk around Govardhan Hill as circumambulating out of respect and out of affection, and you get blessings like that. And some devotees, what they do is it's called Dandavat Parikrama. So Parikrama means to walk, but Dandavats means you lay on the ground. You lay like Dandavats when we offer to Prabhupada. So they do Dandavats, they offer obeisances, Dandavats, and then they get up. And they'll do that 108 times in one spot. Yeah, it's good work, that's true. And then they move on to the next step, and they do that around the whole hill. It takes a long time. Just to walk around it takes 6 or 7 hours, something like that. So, yeah. And then you have we have our Govardhan Shila here on the altar, a stone from Govardhan Hill. Shila means stone, so it's a stone from Govardhan. And it's said in scriptures that Prabhupada makes a point that devotees sometimes take rocks from Govardhan Hill and worship them, non-different from Krishna. So that's what we do here. So if you walk around the temple here, you're doing Govardhan Parikrama. So if you circumambulate the temple. Or you could go around the block, right? Circumambulate the block. You're doing Govardhan Parikrama. So you're getting this, benefits of walking around Govardhan Hill. And this particular temple we're in right now, it's called New Govardhan. So Prabhupada, like there's New York, and what other new things? New Orleans, what else? New Jersey, New Mexico. There's all these new places. So it's like, so Prabhupada had this idea, like, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, this book by Sanatana Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, he explains that when Krishna went to Dwarka, he grew up in Vrindavan, and then when he grew up and he went to Dwarka, married so many queens, in Dwarka he was feeling separation from Vrindavan. He was feeling separation from the gopis and the cowherd boys and Mother Yashoda and all the residents of Vrindavan. So it said he'd be sleeping at night and he would be calling out to them, the different residents of Vrindavan. So the devotees were a little worried in Dwarka. So what they did is they made a replica of Vrindavan. So they made like a fake Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd boys, and it was all kind of like, you go to Disneyland or something. Of course it's not like that, but I'm trying to give you something to, it's like a world created within a world, a nice scenery of Vrindavan. So Krishna was in so much ecstasy that he was taking all these forms of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj to be real. He was talking to him and why isn't she responding to me and this and that, and talking with them. But anyways, this place in Dwarka that was created was called New Vrindavan. It's called Nava Vrindavan. Nava means new Vrindavan. So in other words, it was a place like a replica of Vrindavan, right? So Prabhupada had this idea that he would name the temples different names. So you have like New Dwarka, that's in Los Angeles. So you have Dwarka, which is a place where Krishna married all the queens and princely, acting as a prince. That was Dwarka. So LA is New Dwarka, like a replica of Dwarka. And then you have San Francisco, or Berkeley, which is called New Jagannath Puri. You got a holy place in India, Jagannath Puri. And you have Laguna Beach, it's New Panihati. That's a place in India where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited. So here in SanDiego, we have this temple, and it's New Govardhan. So in other words, it's like a Nava Govardhan, a replica of Govardhan. Now, of course, we have Govardhan here, Govardhan Shila. But Prabhupada even went so far as to say, like in New Vrindavan in West Virginia, because there's a temple called New Vrindavan, Prabhupada told the devotees in New Vrindavan that you should, because in Vrindavan, India, there's 7 main temples of the Goswamis, with the Yamuna River and all that. So Prabhupada told the devotees that you should, in New Vrindavan, West Virginia, you should create these 7 temples to replicate Vrindavan. You know? So Radhanath Swami, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he did that with the Govardhan Eco Village, which is a project outside of Mumbai. He managed to build those 7 temples that are in Vrindavan in this outskirts of Mumbai. So if you go, it's like you're walking in Vrindavan. There's the Yamuna there, there's a Govardhan Hill, there's the temples, you know. So we may not be able to go that far here. It'd be nice, you know, we buy some property and we, you know, build the 7 temples and, you know, have a little Yamuna River going by. Have cows and, you know, peacocks and, you know, types of. We may not be able to do all that. Maybe we can. But at least we could try to be, you could say, feeling like we're in Govardhan, feeling like we're in Vrindavan, and try to be like in that mood, the mood of the residents of Govardhan, which their mood is complete surrender and complete spontaneous affection and love for Krishna. So we could try to be in that mood, create the spiritual atmosphere. So here Prabhupada says in the purport that the spiritual world 3/4 of the total creation, and he's describing, you know, the superiority of these different places which we just described. And Prabhupada starts to talk about Radha Kund. So here we're nearing the completion of the book. So in the beginning of the book, Prabhupada, or Rupa Goswami, describes things that devotees need to do: control their mind, control their senses in different ways, not over-collect, not, you know, do so many things like that. Atyahara priyasya, not talk nonsense. Atyahara priyasya, prajalpa niyamagraha, not follow the rules and regulations mechanically, or neglect the rules and regulations. Prajalpa niyamagraha, janasanga, to give up the association of worldly-minded people who have no interest in Krishna consciousness. So he outlines certain things, and then again this is nearing the end, so he's giving more, you could say, profound instructions or advanced instructions. Now, this verse and the next few verses are describing the glories of residing at Radha Kund, which is, the most holy place there at Govardhan. Now, it's not so easy just to kind of, you know, pack up and move to Radha Kund. One has to be qualified. And even if one is qualified in many ways, Jai, Shishi Gordon Tai Ki Jai, Shishi Radhagiri Daya Ki Jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Radharani, she's wearing a turban today, like Krishna wears a turban, because she's dressed as a cowherd boy today. Because there's a special festival called Gopashtami where Krishna, so one may be advanced in Krishna consciousness and maybe qualified to reside at Radha Kund. In other words, to be fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, to be fully absorbed in chanting and hearing about Krishna, to pretty much be detached from this world in so many ways. But that doesn't mean that necessarily that they'll do that. Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he could have resided at Radhakund and just chanted chanted Hare Krishna all day. And, bathe in Radhakund. But he came out of Vrindavan and he came to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So we do have within our tradition acharyas like the six Goswamis, followers of Lord Chaitanya. They resided at Radhakund, and they just really got into hearing and chanting and writing books. So that's true. Although following Srila Prabhupada and his example, we don't do that. Now, of course, ultimately someone would say, well, why don't you do that? It's saying here in the Nectar of Instruction that this is the best thing to do, to go to Radhakund. This is the most holy place. Well, one thing is that we want to, you could say, follow, Prabhupada's the Charya. So Charya means one who teaches by example. And Prabhupada over and over and over again, he said so many times that devotees should try to spread Krishna consciousness as much as possible. Which, by residing in a place which is more or less a secluded place, then the chances of spreading Krishna consciousness, how Prabhupada thought about it, it doesn't happen. Now we do have an ISKCON temple there at Radhakund, and devotees do live there. But again, whatever we do should really be under the instructions of the spiritual master. So if we could, talk with our spiritual master, and we say, I want to move to Radhakund, they may say, I don't think you're ready for that. They say, I think you should spend some years, 10, 20, 30 years trying to spread Krishna consciousness, and then maybe you'll be ready for that. Now 10, 20, 30 years go by, and you go up to your guru and say, okay, am I ready to live at Radhakund? They may say, I don't think so. Another 20, 30 years. But they may say, okay, you may live in Vrindavan, you may live in, like Prabhupada actually told Boyjan Prabhu one time, he said, one of his disciples, he said, you preach Krishna consciousness, and then in a certain amount of time you could go live in Vrindavan. So he told him that, clearly. So we may think we're ready to live in Vrindavan, but maybe we're not. So that has to be checked with the spiritual master. We shouldn't just think, okay, now I'm ready to go to Radhakund. Because sometimes you see that, actually. That I've seen, because I went there to Radhakund. I didn't spend much time there, but, offer my respects. And so I saw this one European devotee there. And you could tell he was, living outside, looked like. And he was, playing the mridanga, and he was chanting. And so, anyways, I don't want to, cast unnecessary judgment on this person or something, but whether or not he was qualified, whether or not who that was coming from, that instruction for him to be there, I don't know. I have my doubts, because there's been a lot of devotees who do that. They go there and just kind of try to set up shop and try to, hear and chant, but a lot of times they can't maintain it, practically. And that's another flip side, that at Radhakund, there are bona fide authentic Babajis who just hear and chant, and they're pure devotees. But you also have, on the other hand, some kind of, clearly questionable behavior going on there. So in other words, they're not Babajis. So, for example, sometimes there at Radhakund, there's some of these devotees there. these personalities there who aren't, they're not on the level of actually being qualified to live there, with all due respect. But, some young Westerners come from Europe or Russia or wherever, America, I've heard, and they go to one side of the pond, and then one of these devotees, one of these Babajis, they give them initiation. And specifically, it's not just like initiation like we know of it, but it's like they tell them, okay, you are a peacock in the spiritual world, or you are a cowherd boy in the spiritual world. And they describe some of the different, who you are in the spiritual world. Now, I've heard that happened one time, and then that same person went on the other side of Radhakund, and they got and another Babaji initiated him right afterwards, and he told him something completely different. He told him, "Oh, you're a gopi in the spiritual world. You're actually not a coward." So it's like, okay, well, So Prabhupada did say that. Now, some people they may be hearing this talk, people online or whatever, or they may hear it in the future and say, okay, well, what are you trying to do? Just, criticize the Babajis at Vrindavan, and they're actually authentic ones. And yes, like I said, there are authentic ones, but Srila Prabhupada himself said there's inauthentic ones. He said that himself. So, therefore, Prabhupada would actually tell devotees, don't associate with them, the Babajis at Vrindavan. Don't go there and try to get spiritual instructions or anything like that. Even from the ones that are authentic. Why? Because there's maybe some confusion that happens. So, so Prabhupada would say about these inauthentic Babajis, he would say, Radhakun means Vacho Vegam, Manaso Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Uttarapasta Vegam. You have to follow that first, and then once you become Goswami, is control over the mind and senses. You go to Vrindavan, you go to Radhakund. So, he was saying, don't go to Radhakund and live there like a monkey. And specifically, he said, and he said, monkeys, he said, the monkeys have, 12 girlfriends, right? Monkey girlfriends. And probably we call them Devi Dasis, these 12, mistresses or something. So this is inauthentic, bogus. But one has to control their mind, control the senses, and become advanced, But still, devotees will think, okay, well, what are you trying to do, Balarama Dasa? You're just trying to kind of, diss all of these higher topics, all of these disrespect, all of these higher topics, Radhakund, and all of these different things. No, I'm not. But Srila Prabhupada, he emphasized, although some people may think, oh, it's very simple, but Srila Prabhupada emphasized chanting and hearing Krishna's names attentively. Chanting at least 16 rounds and hearing attentively. And that will awaken this love for Krishna, spontaneous love. Not necessarily we have to go to Radhakund or Vrindavan, but with the blessings of the spiritual master, we may go to Radhakund or Vrindavan. So that's the question. We need the blessings of the spiritual master, whatever we do. But whatever the case are, wherever we are in the world, we could become extremely advanced in Krishna consciousness, even in SanDiego. And become spontaneously attracted to Krishna, way far more advanced than any of these inauthentic Babajis at Radhakund. Now, the authentic Babajis at Radhakund, okay, they're very advanced, But even that, we could also become advanced like that wherever we are in the world. By the mercy of Guru, by the mercy of Krishna, we could become advanced like that. So, as Prabhupada said, you could be living in Radha Kund, but could be in Naraka Kund. Naraka means hellish Kund. So in other words, the mentality's off. Or you could be living in SanDiego, right? But not be living in SanDiego, living in Vrindavan. So it depends on the consciousness. So there is some caution while entering certain topics like the Rasa Leela with the gopis and Krishna and different topics like that. There should be caution with devotees. But that doesn't mean that we neglect these topics, but in due course we're able to actually properly enter into the topics and meditate on them, and So, but Radhakund, it's a supremely high, it's the most high holy place, it's the most sacred of all holy places. Radha and Krishna are there. It says they're performing their pastimes. And it says that if, in this next few verses, it says if one just takes a bath or bathes in Radhakund, they'll immediately get this, I'm going to say it immediately, but what does it say here exactly? It says, that the love for Krishna, yes, if one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. So if one bathes in those rivers, then it's fully aroused, it says, Radhakund. So some devotees, they don't want to bathe in it because they feel themselves very fallen and insignificant. They don't want to, put their feet in Radhakund, so they just take some water from it and put it on their head, which is just like bathing. But whatever the case is, it's extremely potent. This, Radhakund, bathing in Radhakund, but there is justification for bathing in it. The 6 Goswamis would bathe in it regularly, fully. But whatever the case, it has to be done in a very respectful mood. Can't be like, like you're, going to dive or something, like you're, like devotees jumping off the cliffs over at Sunset Cliffs or something. Having a good time jumping in, and has to be very like this is offering dandavats and prayers and chanting many rounds before going in, and very. Now, of course, it says that, which we accept, that the love of Krishna will be fully aroused, and then sometimes people bathe, and then afterwards they're like, oh, really, I didn't really. Like I went to Radhakund many times, and I put, or at least when I go to Vrindavan, I put Radhakund on my head and the water. So then people say, okay, well, where's the love? Where's the love of Krishna? One thing, it's the consciousness, how it's done, the mood in which it's done. So that's there. But also sometimes, we don't really, sometimes think, like for example, like when you take a medicine, the immediate effect doesn't take place. It's gradually taking place. So in many ways, our Krishna consciousness, we may bathe in Radhakund, we may hear so many classes and chant Hare Krishna so many times. Sometimes people are wondering, okay, where's the advancement? But the advancement's gradual a lot of the times, and a lot of times we don't even realize it. Like the examples given of like a plane, you go up in a plane and you're going high, 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 right? And then you're not realizing how high you're going. You're just, you're reading a book, or kind of like go to sleep or something, or you're listening to some music, or talking to your friend, and all of a sudden, you look down and SanDiego is very far away. You could kind of see the buildings disappearing, and you're high up in the sky, right? So same with Krishna consciousness, is that Radhakund and all of these different topics may seem very far away, and pure love of Krishna seems so far away. But a lot of the times it's like that. We're kind of in a plane, and before you know it, we look down and we're quite high. So, all right, does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything you'd like to say? You have some comment? Question? Oh. All right. Yes. You want to talk on the mic?
Radhakund, it's at the feet of Govardhan Hill. You can walk straight down there.
Well, you have Govardhan Hill, which you're not supposed to walk on, so we don't walk on it actually, but we walk around it. And while you're walking around Govardhan Hill, there's many holy places, and devotees stop at those different holy places where Krishna performed his different pastimes. So there's like a place called Kusum Sarovara, for example. That's where the gopis used to pick flowers for Krishna. And different places like that around Govardhan. Or like Manasi Ganga, like Krishna manifested the Ganges River there, with his mystic power. So there's all these holy places around Vrindavan, around Govardhan. So one of the places when you're walking around Govardhan is Radhakund. So naturally, when you walk around Govardhan, you'll make it to Radhakund. And there, you'll see so many devotees, like so many of these Babajis. They're all wearing white, and a lot of them wear this tilak, the Radhakund tilak, and you see so many widows there too, wearing all white, So it's a very mystical place. You should go there and visit. So, all right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki